I'm telling you right now that if the St. Louis Blues are able to do this and calculate it and make this happen, this will be the most insane offseason move the Blues have made in history. And I'll tell you more about what could happen coming up here on Locked on Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor-Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues. Here, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. There's no doubting it at all that today's episode is going to probably be the most insane what-if scenario that the Blues can make this offseason. So I will talk about that. Of course, do we trade Torrey Krug? What do we do with him? And a signing happened, which I am happy about. We have a lot to get on today's episode, but before I do that, I just want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. All right, I feel like I have teased this a couple times already, and I just want to tell you about who we should bring home. This is a St. Louis native who might have a brother playing in the NHL, who might have had a father be a Blues legend. Do you have a name? Well, you should have a name because there's not very many people that fit into that category besides, I guess, two guys. I can tell you that this guy is not playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs right now. So who is it? It is Brady Tkachuk. I think Brady Tkachuk would be such a good addition to the St. Louis Blues. I mean, let's face it. These guys grew up Blues fans. And besides that, Matthew's kind of locked in right now with Florida, and I don't see him leaving the Panthers. But how cool would it be if they kind of like did their father's legacy and they went and played for the Blues? I think it's very possible. And Tkachuk, and when I say Tkachuk, I'm just going to be referring to Brady and not Keith or Matthew. But Tkachuk is a very talented and skilled player. And I know some people don't like the Tkachuk brothers. They just don't. But the thing with Brady is, and I always forget that Brady is only 24 years old, which is crazy despite the fact that I'm 25, so it makes me feel old. But I feel like he would just be such a good benefit to this team. And a great question, what do you think we give up for Brady? And I obviously am going to say the common thing that teams give up, draft picks. Don't know which draft picks that we would give up for him with the package. And again, this is all very hypothetical, but I could also see them maybe trading a guy like a Colton Parayko in the deal. You can add in a couple other players. Now, if we were able to get Brady Tkachuk, I think I would be okay. And I love this guy, but Jake Neighbors would be such a big asset. So if you put together Parayko and Neighbors and you give them to Ottawa, I don't see a problem in that. I don't. I think the thing with the Senators is, and it's, again, I didn't even talk to my friends over at Locked On Sens about this, but they have a team, obviously, that has struggled tremendously. And obviously, you want to chase the cup. I think that if Brady played with a guy like Jordan Binnington and net and had such a strong foundation, right? You have a guy like a Robert Thomas, who is phenomenal. I just think that Brady Tkachuk would really be able to thrive. Could you imagine him on a line with Thomas? That would be actually insane. Robert Thomas and Brady Tkachuk playing together. That's see what I'm saying? Most insane offseason move the Blues could make is exactly that, because that would make the Blues such a strong contending team. And then I get what you're saying, Hale, Brady's the captain, of the Senators, and, we have Braden Shen. At the end of the day, I understand. You're going to, if you trade Parayko, this is again hypothetical, you can give him an A. We've seen it before where captain of a team goes to another team and they don't get the captain, right? You see that with Claude Giroux, who is literally on the Ottawa Senators right now, who was the captain in Philadelphia for, like a decade, it felt like. and now he wears an A. Players adapt. Players want to win first. I don't think Brady's the kind of guy that's going to be, oh, well, I have an A, not a C. I don't think he would care. He wants to win. He is young, so you have a lot of time with him, which is something special. And honestly, it's been in the talks for a while about Brady Tkachuk, rumored to be coming to St. Louis. There's been rumors circulating for years, I feel like, about this. And again, I don't know why, there's all these rumors and things like that, but let's go talk about his contract, okay? So Tkachuk signed a 7-year contract, a lot of money, 57 milli. But that was guaranteed. Obviously, he gets his usual annual salary. And the thing about it is, he did sign this contract too on October 14th of 2021. So yes, his contract doesn't come to an end. So you might be wondering, Hale, how can we get him out of this? Because, and I'm going to, for all my analytical people, you're going to appreciate this. But he signed in 2021, right? It will end in that 2027-2028 season. He has a no move clause throughout the 2025-26 season onward. So for those 3 seasons, this current season, he doesn't have a no move clause, right? So when we break it all down, because I know it's quite a lot, the Blues would, yes, they would have to give up a good amount to get Brady Tkachuk. And he would have to be willing to play here. I don't think that there would be a problem in that, to be honest. Because I don't, and it's nothing against the Senators, and I'm not bashing Ottawa. I just don't see, how attractive it is to be on the Senators right now when you could play for the Blues and actually be a contending team. I'm not saying that Ottawa doesn't have any hope. They do. Okay. I'm not coming at Ottawa in any way. I just said, and I think this could be mutually beneficial because they could get a lot more out of it with, draft picks. And Thunder also said, what do you think about Kyrou and a first rounder? For Tkachuk, yes, 100%. I like Jordan Kyrou. I do, and I've talked about that before. And a first rounder, obviously, it sucks to lose that high of a draft pick. But if you're getting one of those very few players in the NHL that I can confidently say is the cream of the crop, do it. Be aggressive and do it. I mean, I think that this is the determining factor that could separate St. Louis from any other team in the NHL. You have a guy following in his father's legacy. You have a player who is so young and so gifted and so talented playing for his hometown team with, again, Robert Thomas, because Brady would, hypothetically, if he were to come here, he would be on the first line with Robert Thomas. That's deadly. That honestly is going to get you into playoff contention talk immediately. I don't think the St. Louis Blues would be a team that people would not be afraid of. I think that if you had Brady Tkachuk, you'd be afraid of the Blues. And then I will continue to talk, yes, again, about the defense. But anyways, going back to this. So per year, and I know math confusing, this coming season, Tkachuk will be paid $8.2 million, okay? Yes, that is a lot of money. Well, that's the cap hit. There's just a lot. Base salary is 10 million, well, 10.5 million. But the way I am breaking this down, I'm just showing you that he is making a significant amount of money. Now, if we were to get him with that amount of money, sure, the Blues wouldn't be able to make some more, moves, right? Because I know we talked about a Sam Reinhart, a Brandon Montour, a lot of guys from the Panthers actually that I have interest in that are free agents. But it would allow us to use some of our other guys who we're going to develop, like, again, DeBoer or Dvorsky, who I'm such a huge fan of, by the way. So hypothetically speaking, I don't think that this is a problem. And, when you look at his injuries through this season, or not even through this season, just in general, he doesn't get injured that much. I mean, in September, he had an injury to his eye. It was day-to-day. Then he was cleared to play like 5 days later. And then in March, he had an upper body injury day-to-day. And then 2 days later, he was cleared to play. So he's a player that is actively healthy. And I say that because, yes, it is routine sometimes for players to miss a couple games. That is the nature of the game. So you're getting a guy that could realistically play for at least 75 games. He would be on that first line. And of course, Thunder said it too. Imagine him with Bush if he's still here. That's what I'm saying. You have Tkachuk, Thomas, Bush. Tell me how the Blues wouldn't be a contending team. So when you break it all down like that, I think that it's very safe to say that this could be one of those off-season moves that could change the franchise. It could. It could make the Blues immediately a playoff contention team. And yes, he would have to show up and do all the hard work and all that stuff, which I know and I understand. But I'm just saying to you that it's not so crazy to think about it. Will it happen? I mean, 80% of me says it probably won't happen, but there is a 20% of me that is like, you know what? It could happen. I mean, if Ottawa was a contending team and they were really close to making the playoffs, I would say 100% no way he's just going to stick with Ottawa. But the Sens have really struggled. And they have been one of the, and I'm not bashing the Senators. This is just facts. They have been one of the worst teams in the NHL. So I think that a guy like Tkachuk, he probably wants to get into the playoffs. I mean, he's seeing Matthew right now on the Panthers. I mean, first off, Matthew Tkachuk is killing it, and they need a win tonight because I don't want the Rangers to win. But he is seeing his older brother, go to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. I mean, he is seeing a lot of good things. And I know that, when he was with the Flames, it wasn't all so great. So sometimes you do have to move teams in order to find success. Okay? Because in hockey life, I was watching this great video and somebody explained it very well. I think it was the great one that said it, or former captain of 18 days, that in hockey, an average player has about 5 years when you do the statistics. You don't want to waste your time. And again, I'm not saying Brady Tkachuk is an average player. He is not. He is beyond that. But again, you don't want to waste your time because your time is valuable. Every time you get cross-checked, boom, you're getting hit. It takes a toll on the body. So wouldn't you want to be on a team that could set you up for success? So let me know what you think in the comments. Also, let me know if you think the Blues should trade Torrey Krug. I want everybody that's watching right now to give me your thoughts on that. Should the St. Louis Blues trade Torrey Krug? And if so, let me know why or why not, because I am curious what you have to say about that. Before I talk about my opinion, I want to talk to you about my friends over at Gametime, okay? Gametime makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. One thing that I love about Gametime is that I can see exactly where I am sitting before I buy my ticket with their view from the seat feature, which makes getting tickets so much easier because I can literally be like, okay, I'm going to be sitting here. I can't see. I'm going to go get a ticket somewhere else. For somebody short like me, it helps a lot. And yes, if you get your ticket right before the event, the prices do go down. Everyone around me is always so stressed out. They're like, hey, get your tickets. And I'm like, no, it's okay. With Gametime, you will get the lowest price. I promise. So if you want to see the cards this summer, I know tickets are cheap as it is, but if you want to get them cheaper, this is what you're going to do. You're going to take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets or any tickets with Gametime, download the Gametime app, and create an account and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And so many of you have used this code in the past couple of days and have told me, so I'm glad to help you out. So I asked a question. I said, should we trade Torrey Krug? And I wanted to hear your thoughts because my thoughts are kind of complicated. So let's go see what you have to say. I am live on YouTube, by the way, so make sure to smash that subscribe button. Super close to 1,000. I want to get to that before the draft because I am setting myself out. So if you didn't subscribe to me, subscribe to me. Even if it's a fake account, use that one. If it's like a burner hate account, I don't care. Just subscribe. Okay. So Blondie Girl 2021 says, for me, I don't want to trade our number one defender, especially with the way our defense is right now. But I would love to trade someone like a Kyra or Neighbors. They would be great assets. And that's a good point. And what I will comment on that is, when you think about the Blues' defense, there's only two players that stand out to me, and that is Colton Parayko and Torrey Krug. Yes, I like Matthew Kessel. Do I think he's there yet? No. He's a third pair kind of guy. When I think of a guy like a Tyler Tucker, he is all right, but he's not there yet. Perunovich, he'll be gone. But the defense does make me nervous, but I want the defense to be younger and more skilled. Thunder says, we could get someone to bite off Krug and we will retain half of his salary. And that's the thing. If we have the money, right, even if it's half of it, it's better than having all of it. We can be more aggressive and go for a guy like Sam Reinhart, which I talked about. I think at the end of the day, and this is the problem that the Blues have right now, is that we have all these no trade clauses. And I talked about this last summer a lot. When it comes to a no trade clause, two things. One, it is literally in the player's contract. So if they don't want to move to a team that they don't want to play for, they legally don't have to do that. Is it annoying for us as fans? Absolutely, because we're like, okay, get out of here. We don't need you anymore, buddy. But at the end of the day, legally, they have that right. And most of the time, if a player does have a no trade clause, they have earned the right to have one. Now, here's the thing, though. Torrey Krug could say, you know what? I want to go and play for the Bruins. And the reason why I say that is maybe he wants to play for, maybe the Bruins wasn't the best example because he was a Bruin. Let's go say he was like, I want to play for the Dallas Stars. Okay. So that's cool. Then honestly, he could be moved and traded. If the Stars want him, I'm just saying this hypothetically, that would work out. But the Blues on their own can't make a trade to a team that he won't approve. So, yes, it's a tough situation, but I also would rather trade some of our defensive players. I don't know how Jay Folk is going to even play next year, to be honest. Not to be me. I just don't think he's healthy enough to. I don't think he regressed a lot, okay? And that's the problem right now with the Blues is that we've had a lot of players regress. And at the end of the day, that's the nature of hockey, right? And I'm not coming at any of these players, saying just because you get older, you're going to suck. But sometimes when you do get older, you have new injuries that come about. And that's a very, very normal situation. But again, I think with a guy like a Justin Folk, and I like him, and it sucks, and I feel bad to even say that. But at the end of the day, he has regressed. And then you have a Marco Scandella again. I just don't feel confident in him. Nick Leddy, again, I like these guys. I just don't see him honestly playing here next season. When you think about the defense, we have Justin Folk, Torrey Krug, Nick Leddy, Colton Parayko, Scott Perunovich, Marcus Scandella, Tyler Tucker, Matthew Kessel. That's not a scary defense. That is a defense that literally screams, we're going to get past you. And then it becomes on Jordan Binnington or Joel Hofer to be the true defensive players in net. And again, that's why I have mentioned Montour so many times. Yes, he is older, but the thing about him that is different than the guys that I named, besides the exception of Scott Perunovich, is that he still has his A game. He still plays like he's in his young 20s. And right now, the Blues cannot afford to have another season where they don't make the playoffs. And I'm not trying to be harsh because I understand that, making the playoffs is extremely, extremely difficult, but not really, because with the second wild card, half of the teams make it, half of the teams don't. We're the best worst team. So at the end of the day, it's not like it's that challenging when you have, I feel like I am getting angry. It's just, I know the keys to success, and it's a better defense. So Wildwood Jake says, how can he trade Neighbors? We don't know his potential yet. He might be a 30-plus goal scorer like Kyrou. And the reason why I said Jake Neighbors is, and again, this was in the hypothetical trade that we would get for Brady Tkachuk. So again, hypothetical. I said this before. I do not want to trade two players, Robert Thomas and Jake Neighbors. But here's the thing. If it was to get a guy like Brady Tkachuk, I would consider it. And why is that? You're right. We don't know Neighbors' full potential yet. 100% spot on. But the one thing I can tell you, though, about Jake Neighbors is that what he showed this past season should be exciting to not just us as Blues fans, but just to other teams throughout the NHL, that this could be a guy that could be a great asset to a team. Do I want to trade Neighbors? No. But I do think he has value. And sometimes you have to take chances on guys like that, right? And it's not so uncommon in the NHL to see, teams make trades of players that maybe only play their rookie season and then they blossom into phenomenal athletes and they got them for a steal. But it's not like I'm saying, oh, yeah, let's trade Jake Neighbors. No. That is not what I'm saying. Hypothetically, if the Ottawa Senators said, we want Jake Neighbors or however the deal gets made, if we got Brady Tkachuk, as much as it would suck to not have Neighbors, we would get Brady Tkachuk. Again, I am not saying on this podcast right now, I want to trade Jake Neighbors, and I wanted to make that very clear. I would be okay with it if we were to get a guy like Brady Tkachuk. There is not a lot of players, honestly speaking, in the NHL that I would be willing to give away a guy that probably had one of the best seasons this past season. I'm not getting rid of Robert Thomas no matter what. He's off the, he's ours. No one else is getting him. But I can't think of another player in the NHL that I would be, like a Connor McDavid or a Draisaitl. Those are, but again, they're not going to leave the Oilers. But I'm just saying in general, there are very few players where I'm like, oh yeah, no, I would give away one of my favorite players that has some great potential. There's not a lot of athletes anymore that have me feeling that way. So again, in my hypothetical trade, sure, it would be something I would consider. But I don't think that we're going to get Tkachuk. I just think that it would be the most insane move the Blues can make this offseason because, one, it would change the dynamic of the team. And two, we would have a Tkachuk on the ice again for us. So that's pretty cool. All right. So a signing did happen. I know this conversation, it's going to be a conversation I'm sure we're going to have tomorrow at some point because it is quite a bit to process, but I've been really wanting to do this episode. A signing did happen. I'm going to talk about that. But before I do that, again, I just want to plug this YouTube channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Helps me out so much. I am flying out to Vegas for the NHL draft, literally spending my own money to do so, which was a lot of money. So I wanted to be able to get exclusive draft coverage for, all of you here and cover the Blues draft process. I love the draft and it's in Vegas, so that's fun. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and I will be posting more exclusive interviews that I have with some of your favorite Blues players this past season when they came to my city. And they said some very interesting things, but only here on this YouTube channel will you be able to find that exclusive content. Did I mention exclusive? Because I think I said the word exclusive about 20 times in this past sentence. So it's been a lot. But, there's a lot of stuff with our drafts that I'm going to get into, but I want to talk about our prospects because today was a good day. So again, all these guys that honestly have some of these, like the Finland players and all that, their names are very hard to pronounce. But today, it was announced by GM Doug Armstrong, aka Dougie A, that the team has signed forward Alexandre Kazmaki to a 3-year, 2-way entry-level contract. And he was drafted by the Blues in the third round, number 73rd overall pick in the 2022 NHL draft, so a couple years ago. He's 20 now, and he spent last season with the HIFK in Finland's top professional league. Liga, posting 17 points, 10 goals, 7 assists, and 48 regular season games. He also appeared in 7 games with Finland at the 2024 IIHF World Junior Championship, logging 4 points with 2 goals and 2 assists. So he spent the past 4 seasons with the HIFK organization with 26 points, 14 goals, 12 assists, and 93 regular season games. He also earned a bronze medal with Finland at the 2022 IIHF Under 18 World Juniors. Now, this is solid. Do I think it's going to be a big difference maker on the team? No, but again, when I think about players like this and how they can develop, obviously, I always think fourth line type of guy is not bad to have, but that's not the exciting news that I have to share because it has to go with my favorite person. The only player that literally made me freak out during the draft last year because he saw that coverage live, my live reaction when we drafted Dvorsky. I could not believe we got him. And I was doing a live, draft, episode. And obviously the guys from the Locked On NHL channel, I was with them. And it said, and the Blues select Dvorsky. And I was like, oh, and I was like, let's go, because this is a player that is going to change the name of the game for the Blues. I just get so excited when I think about him. So the OHL announced that their 2023-2024 All-Star teams on Tuesday have 2 St. Louis Blues prospects who are among the honorees. And we have forward Dvorsky, who was named to the first All-Star team, while defenseman Michael Buchner. Oh my gosh, I almost said Buchnevich, and I was like, Haley, no. Michael Buchinger was named to the third All-Star team. So yes, as I said last year, the Blues selected over at 10th overall Dvorsky, who was the Slovakian who had a standout season with the Sudbury Wolves in his first year in the OHL with 45 goals and 88 points in 52 regular season games. He also had 10 points, 3 goals, 7 assists in the 9 playoff games that he played in. And then our other Boosh was selected in the 3rd round, 88th overall in the 2022 NHL draft. And he put up 47 points, 10 goals, 37 assists in 52 regular season games, and another 3 points with 2 goals and 1 assist in his 4 playoff games. So this was voted by the OHL general managers. I really was like Buchnevich. Like, that's how excited I got. You think Dvorsky makes the team this year? I don't. I don't think he's going to play for the Blues this year. I don't. I think he's going to have another year in the OHL. I don't want him to rush over here, too. That's the thing when it comes to Dvorsky. I want him to develop and get as many reps, that was in English, as many reps as possible. If he comes over, great. If we see him, towards the end of the season, awesome. But with a player like that, I am totally okay with development. Ideally, and here's the thing. The NHL is a whole different game than the OHL, the WHL, any other league, AHL even. And for him right now, who is succeeding in the OHL like crazy, I want him to be as comfortable and ready as possible. So when he does come over here to the NHL, he has, that confidence, that swagger, and he has the skill set that he needs to develop properly. So when he does hit the ice here at Enterprise or any other NHL rink, he's ready to go. So as much as I want him to play this season, like I'm like, oh yeah, I would love to have Dvorsky. I don't want him to be rushed either. And I guess that's like a very selfless move of me because I feel like I'm the kind of person that's like, just get him over here. But in his case, I'm fine waiting another season if that means that he gets more developmental time. And I think it's great. He had 9 postseason games, which again gives him that experience of more intense hockey. And here's the thing too about the draft. And I will touch on this. Yes, he was our 10th overall pick. But just because a guy is selected in the 3rd round, 2nd round, 4th round, they still could have potential. We have guys in our team that were selected a little bit later. Now, we do have one player, and this is like the most stupid statistic fact I ever will share on this podcast. So we have Tyler Tucker, who was drafted in the 7th round. He is the 25th most active player selected out of the 7th round in the NHL in all-time history. I'm sure you weren't expecting that one. But there you go. That's a random hockey fact of the day. So when it comes to the St. Louis Blues, you get great coverage by me with a hint of random hockey facts. All right. Well, this was a really fun episode. I usually don't go live anymore. I usually just do recordings. But in an episode like this, I just really wanted to get people's live reactions and thoughts. So I do episodes 5 days a week. Again, Blues fan or not, I hope this is some interesting content that you want to subscribe for, and it really does help out my channel. So if you have any more questions that you want me to go over for tomorrow's episode, tweet me at Locked On Blues or Haley T. Simon and ask me your St. Louis Blues questions. And in tomorrow's episode, I can base that around what you want to know. Because again, as much as this podcast is things that I want to talk about, it's also conversations that I want us to mutually have together, you and I. So with all that being said, I will talk to you tomorrow. Let's go watch some playoff hockey tonight, okay? And like always, let's go Blues.